Welcome to the latest edition of the Bscotch Ballyhoo. Today we're talking about Crashlands 2 Combat. I'm Adam, one of the developers behind Crashlands 2. One of the big design challenges we have with Crashlands 2 is the combat. The game is a sequel, so how do we make it more interesting and more fun than combat in the original game, all while making it still feel like Crashlands? In the original, we had lots of different weapons, but you sort of used them all in the same way. Swords were fast, hammers were slow, but in the end, they both just kinda smacked things when you got close. For Crashlands 2, we want to give you more ways to engage, and even avoid combat. Let's look at some of that stuff. First, telegraphs. In the original, we drew indicators, which were called telegraphs, on the ground to show you where your attacks would land. You'd square up with an enemy, take their hand, and do a little dance of death around those telegraphs. We still wanted telegraphs to underpin combat in Crashlands 2, but we needed to kick things up a few notches. In the first game, we pretty much just had rectangles and circles, since those were easy to draw on the screen, and made it easy to figure out if something was inside those telegraphs. We have gotten a lot better at our job since then. Now we can make them in any shape. Don't tell me you aren't impressed. My two favorite examples of these telegraphs are the Electro Fuzz Knuckles. Just look at these things, like two adorable cat paws. Or two fists bearing spiked brass knuckles. Not really sure if there's a difference. And there's also the Spacewalk. It's shaped like a dang pan, complete with a little hole in the handle that you'd use to hang it on a rack. And when it connects with an enemy, such a satisfying bonk. So we've upgraded the telegraphs, which makes this little dance of death even more fun, but it also makes it more difficult. And so, the Juke. As the great space captain Patches O'Houlihan once said, if you could dodge a space wrench, you could dodge a ball. There's nothing more satisfying than just barely avoiding getting hit by something. So we did the classic dodge roll mechanic as a core element of movement and combat. Juke between telegraphs and then just juke right across a raging river to safety. Okay, by raging river I might mean a quiet and also very narrow stream. At this point you might be thinking, geez, combat in Crashlands 2 sounds pretty intense. While we did want to raise the ceiling on just how intense combat can be, we also know that not everybody wants that. I'm personally more of a sneak around and attack from afar person myself. Which brings me to surprise attacks. While the original game did have some distance weapons, the focus was definitely on melee combat. Crashlands 2 gives you a lot more ways to fight things from afar. We've got spears, we've got bombs, we've got weird spiky seed things, and we've even got throwable fish. By the way, if you aren't convinced that a fish makes for an excellent distance weapon, just try playing hot potato with a lionfish and get back to me. Distance weapons are great, but sometimes you want to get close while maintaining the element of surprise. Or maybe you just want to scoot right by an enemy altogether. In either case, we've got you covered with invisibility. Just look at this, it's just a spooky little outline floating around. I mean, I'd be intimidated if I saw that coming for me. I mean, I wouldn't see it, but, if I could see it, holy crap, that'd be terrifying. And with that, that's the end of this edition of the Bscotch Ballyhoo. Until next time, please go wishlist Crashlands 2 on Steam.